On the latest episode, we catch up with Danny Pugh, a former professional footballer who now coaches in the first team with Port Vale. Danny speaks to us about his playing career, dipping his toes into coaching, and much more. If you like the content that we do bring to you, hit the subscribe button and feel free to leave us a review. Enjoy. Good evening, Danny. Thank you very much for joining us on the PCT podcast today and taking time out of your schedule. How are you and the family during this strange time?
Yeah, no, okay. Thanks for having me to start with. But no, we're all right. We're okay. Everyone's well. Like I was just saying to you earlier on, we've got 3 young children, so it's a busy time, keeping them busy, keeping them entertained. But no, we're all okay. Just trying to get used to, obviously, this very strange situation we're all in.
Yeah, so you said kids keeping you busy, as we spoke about off air. A lot of the listeners will know you through your playing time. Can you just give us a brief insight into the current role that you've got at the minute?
Yeah, well, I'm currently first team coach at Port Vale. Having obviously played there, it became a natural progression in a sense. I'd started doing my coaching badges. I was doing little bits with the academy during the week, just watching, helping out where I could. And then it was actually Neil Aspin who'd initially asked me just to do little bits with the team. Towards the end of his time there, actually, which I enjoyed. Doing. And the new manager came in, and he asked me if I wanted to be involved on that side of things, which I did. And it's kind of gone from there, really. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it at this moment in time.
Fantastic. I mean, you've had an illustrious playing career, Danny. And when was it the decision came about to sort of hang up the boots and go into coaching?
Well, I still am registered as a player, so that's not official yet. No, so I'm only joking. Yeah, no, it's hard to say. Probably last season, I knew that it was obviously. I'd hit 35, and that's the kind of the target I'd always set was I wanted to get to 35. Could have played till I was 35. That was always my goal and my target to get there. And then as I got to 34, obviously, started doing more and more coaching. And probably last season, I'd say. And then this is my first season where I felt I'm more of a coach than a player. Last season, I was player coach, but I still felt more of a player with doing a little bit of coaching. But now I feel this season, I've definitely crossed over that line. And I'm now, I'd say, fully on like the coaching side of things as opposed to the playing side of things. At the start of this season, I'd say, is the big step I've made.
And just again, what age did you start taking an interest in taking your coaching badges?
It probably wasn't until I hit about 30, late 20s. Probably late 20s when I'd start writing sessions down. When I was in the sessions, obviously, if I liked the session, different sessions, different coach, I thought I like that, and I started filling notepads up, different sessions, and started wondering about spaces of areas, numbers of players during training sessions, or trying to log how training sessions went, if they worked, what I like, what worked well. And that's probably like late 20s and early 30s, I started doing the courses, doing my badges and that side of things. So I'd say, the last probably 5, 6 years.
Anyone we've had on who's obviously gone from a playing career to coaching, we've sort of asked, did it help change the way that you played as a player, doing your coaching badges, or did it not really affect it at the time?
I don't think it necessarily changed me as a player, but I think it makes you appreciate more as a player what's involved. You probably start looking at the game in a slightly different way, in a more in-depth manner, when you start looking at the coaching side of things, why we're doing certain sessions on certain days, how does that relate to the opposition, to the games. So I think you definitely, I think that's why I think it's a good thing if you can get into it as a player, because you kind of see both sides of things. I don't think it changed me as a player as such, but I'd say it definitely helped me see it as a bigger picture.
Is there anything you miss about playing, Danny? Now you obviously.
Yeah, no, I do. It helps a bit because I still can train with the lads during the week. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week I do get to do to balance numbers out, or if I'm needed to in certain training sessions. So that definitely helps, and it's probably eased the coming out of the game, the playing side of things. But no, I miss it massively. I love training, love playing games, miss the buzz of stepping onto the pitch. but this is it's the closest thing I've got to it. I can get to it, and like I said, it's probably not been as hard as I thought it was going to be. But like I said, I think still being within football, still being in that environment, being able to train, still getting the match day buzz, even if I'm not playing, has definitely helped me personally.
It's interesting because we spoke to a former teammate in Rory Delap, and he said he didn't miss playing. So he found the transition to coaching quite easy because he just, not that he didn't enjoy playing anymore, he just got to the point of, he was ready for a change.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny. You'll speak to some lads, and they can never let go. Some miss it dreadfully. They hate the fact that they can't play, they can't train, but some will just switch off from it like that. They've had enough. They've done their bit. I'm a bit in between. Like I said, I do miss it. I love it. I love playing. I still love playing now. Still love training. But yeah, no, it's this side's definitely made things easier.
Yeah. No, I mean, just before we go talk through the career you've had, you mentioned you did a bit of work in the academy with Port Vale. Is there any big differences you've seen in the change from when you came through the academy system at all?
Probably how young they get the lads. But I think that's across the board. They seem to get lads in, not just necessarily at Port Vale, but throughout all the academies. They seem to get lads in 5, 6, 7 years of age. I think when I came in at 10 into an academy at 10 years old, which at the time that was seemed very young. But obviously now they get them in a lot earlier. Maybe it seems more technical, more serious from a younger age. I think we just we'd go play, we enjoyed it, we loved training, but it was never seen. I don't know. I think how big football's got in the country, how much money's involved in football. I don't know if that's blowing it all up. Probably the age thing's the big thing, but I'd say it's probably taken more seriously now at a very young age to where when I was doing it maybe 30, nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just a question that I'm interested in. Do you think we do too much too soon for the players and, don't give them the chance to just play?
Yeah, I do. Not, like I said, not just Port Vale I think the big thing for me, I loved, and I think it's vitally important, is playing at school, playing with your mates, playing for your local team. And you learn different skills there than you would in an academy environment. Sometimes you'll play with a lot of old lads at school. In your local team, playing on the park, playing the field, you learn to probably look after yourself a bit more than maybe you would in an academy. But there's obviously falling against it, because I think now the players are technically a lot better than maybe they were a few years ago. That's obviously improving. So I think there's falling against both sides of doing things, to be honest.
I understand. So you went into the academy system age 10. Was sort of a big buzz around when you signed, and were you just enjoying playing with your mates as such before you went in?
Yeah, just playing, like I said, for the local team. And I think then you're allowed, that's another difference probably. I was probably allowed to play still from a local team, still from a school team, senior school team, town team. I was still able to do that as well as play for United at the time, as well as play for them. But I think they stopped that a lot younger from what I can gather now. They don't allow you to do that. But I was still able at that time to play at the academy, but also play within like the school and your local setup, really.
So you mentioned there you came through the ranks at Manchester United. Just tell us a little bit about obviously your journey through the academy and just how good the academy is at United. For me, it was unbelievable. It was the perfect grounding and learning environment I think I could ever have wished for, to be honest. Everything about it. Yeah, you learn how to be a footballer, how to handle yourself, how to just be a professional, really. I loved every minute of it, and I don't have a bad word to say about the experience, to be honest. I mean, ultimately going on to play under one of, and if not, the world's greatest manager. Can you give us an insight into Sir Alex Ferguson and how it felt being managed by him?
All very surreal when you look back now. Obviously, I've been there from such a young age, and every step was just that one step closer. Can you get into the YTS? Can you get the professional contract? Can you get the reserves? And it was just little baby steps. But from going in the building full time at 16 and seeing somebody like that work and
what they do and how they prepare, train, how they go about the business is quite an unbelievable thing. And maybe at the time you don't really witness being in that bubble as such. But no, it was unbelievable to see. Like you said, probably the best manager of our lifetime. Work at close quarters. Really, very lucky to have seen it.
Yeah. I mean, you then went to make your debut in a Champions League group game, replacing Ruud van Nistelrooy, and obviously for myself, at that age, Ruud was, a big name in the game. You then followed a league debut against Spurs, replacing Ryan Giggs. Was there any nerves before going on to any of those games? And was that a real surreal moment for you, replacing these big names in the sport?
Yeah, I think there'll always be nerves in situations like that. I think I was 19 when I made my debut. So no, there's the nerves, the excitement, but it was just an unbelievable time for me. I was obviously lucky to get that experience and play. I think play 7 games in total, which is not a huge number, but obviously it's something I'm proud that I did, and I loved every minute of it, really.
I mean, did you at 19? You mentioned that. Did you feel you were ready for first team action in the Premier League and Champions League, or was it a case of maybe wanted to go and cut your teeth at lower down the leagues? Or
yeah, I had a couple of chances or opportunities at the time. I wasn't able to leave. They wanted me to stay around the place at 18, 19. I wasn't ready, I don't think, to break into United's first team on a regular basis. I was kind of in and around the squad, probably the 18, 20, 22, around that kind of. So I don't think I was ready to be a regular player or feature on a regular basis. But I felt I was ready to be given a chance and to maybe dip my toe and have a sample it, really. And in the end, I left at 21 when I knew I wasn't going to progress break into that squad on a regular basis. And at 21, it was time for me then to try and go and kick on into probably real first team football for myself on a regular basis.
So at that age, the move came about where you were involved in a swap deal with Alan Smith and going over to Leeds. How did that come about? Were you approached, or did you speak to the club?
Not really. There was there'd been a couple of rumours really that there would have been a little bit of interest there. I was actually sat at home watching Sky Sports News, and it said I was having a medical at Leeds, and that was just not true. I wasn't there. It was the first proper thing I'd heard of it, and then the next day I got called back into the club. I had a chat with the manager, obviously the manager at the time, and it was kind of that it'll be a good move for you. The players we've got coming this year, what's in front of you, the opportunities will be limited, and it was a perfect move for me at the time. Great club to go to, and it was a time I was ready to go and kick on, really.
Yeah, I mean, you started there as Leeds as a sort of left midfielder and ultimately deputised at a left back. How was your time at Leeds, and would you say you were given a chance in your favoured positions?
Yeah, again, I loved it. I felt like that was the first time I felt I was properly in that first team environment, first team squad, first team player. So that was I'd say my first real experience of being involved properly, and I loved it. I had two really good years there. It's a fantastic club. I started off left midfield, did a little bit of left back. But no, again, it was a great place. I did end up going back there a few years later. But no, it was again a fantastic club and great memories for myself. You
mentioned there, you spent a good 2 years at the club, and you became Paul Simpson's first signing at Preston. Were you looking to get back playing regularly and enjoying a good run of games?
Yeah, the second season at Leeds, I hadn't played as much as I'd wanted to, and then my contract was up, and then Paul Simpson had just gone into Preston after I think Billy Davies had just left, and they had a very good side there already, and it was relatively local to myself. They were a good team, good club, and no, it was a good chance for me. And we had a really good season that first year. We were lucky just to miss out on the playoffs. I think we missed out on the playoffs by a point, which was obviously upsetting, but no, we had a good team, and again, I enjoyed my time there.
I mean, coming through the FA mentoring sort of scheme, we had a chance to meet with Paul Simpson, and the way he handled himself was fantastic, and obviously his success with England in the World Cup. speaking to David Worrell recently, and he mentioned that Simpson's management and training sessions were just top class. Did you enjoy your time under Simpson and his training sessions?
Yeah, I did. He was a really good manager, quite quiet, calm guy, but his sessions were very good. He had very good coaches with him as well, which I think always helped. There was Rob Kelly, who came in, who's now, I think, assistant with Uwe Rosler. He's obviously been around a lot of clubs. He's a very good coach. He had Billy Barr with him, who is now Blackburn in the youth team. He's there. So we had very good coaches with him. But no, I've seen Paul Simpson at St George's when we've trained there a couple of times as well. Obviously, he's with the England setup, and he was a good manager, and I'm pleased to see how obviously well he's done since leaving Preston.
And then the following season came an initial loan move to Stoke, which was made permanent in the following January, and a chance to work under Tony Pulis. When he signed, you quoted saying that you were delighted to have signed a quality left-sided midfielder. It must feel good as a player to hear such high praise when you move to a club. Yeah,
it's always nice to obviously hear things like that. And obviously from the first time I spoke to Tony Pulis, you could see how driven he was and how much he wanted to succeed, and he clearly was going to succeed. I was lucky when I joined, the timing of joining Stoke. Again, the time was perfect, where they were in the Championship, and it was that season we ended up getting promoted. So for me, it was the timing was good, and it was a good few years we had there.
Yeah, we spoke, as I mentioned off air, we spoke with Roy, and he joined the club just as, I think they were level with points with Sunderland and struggling for a bit of form, and was really sold, I'm not going to say the dream, but the vision by Tony Pulis, and it ultimately came to fruition that season that you mentioned. Yeah. And I think what was quite famous during that period was that the team spirit and the underdog mentality. That came to light certainly in the first season. How important would you say that is to a side, and did you realise how good the group was at that time?
I think it's vital to have that good team spirit and the camaraderie within a group of players. Maybe at the time you didn't realise how good a group it was. It's only when you step away and think, what a group of players, what a group of lads. But no, at the time there was great team spirit there, like you said, and at the head of that was the manager. But he assembled a group of players who wanted to win, wanted the success, and he had the dream and the kind of sold it to the players he brought in, and everyone was singing off the same hymn sheet as such. There was a way of playing that we all bought into, and it was successful at that time.
I mean, 4 years at Stoke, and I'm pretty sure there's some memorable games which we'll delve into shortly, but including a win against FC Thun in the Europa League. What sort of memories do you have from your time at Stoke? What really stand out for you?
Some unbelievable memories. Obviously, the promotion first and foremost was huge. To get in the Premier League from the Championship was a massive achievement for everyone, for the club, the players. That's the overriding memory. Then there's the FA Cup run when we got to the final. Obviously, winning at Wembley in the semi-final, getting to the final against Man City, unfortunately losing. But that's another massive memory. Like I said, the European, the little run we went on there. They were all great memories. And then, like being the underdog in the Premier League, it was just every game was a massive game for the club. Teams didn't like playing Stoke at the time. It was hard to play against. However, whatever people say about the style, it worked. It was successful, and it was just a great time to be involved with the club.
And we mentioned that underdog sort of mentality that we had, and surely being wrote off on the first game of the season in the Premier League by a big betting company, shall we say? Did that inspire the group as such, and make you want to just go and prove them wrong?
Yeah, I think we were always written off from day one, and obviously the first game, that's always going to be the case. But I think it didn't take long till teams realised we were never going to be a pushover. But yeah, I think having that underdog mentality, especially in the early days, definitely helps. and it makes it probably like you were in this together, our group, and everyone else. No one expects us to do anything, so there's no outside pressure as such. So maybe that helped as well.
You mentioned earlier in the conversation you went back to Leeds under Simon Grayson. You know, you spent 3 years there with a couple of loan spells and got to play under sort of different managers such as Neil Warnock, Brian McDermott, and Dave Jones. Yeah. Under those, would you say you played a variation of positions, or did you start to settle down into a favoured central midfielder role?
I think throughout my career, to be honest, I've always, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I've always moved positionally. I've played all over the shop from a young age. And it could be a bad thing, maybe not having a set position, but in other times it's worked out in my favour, and I've possibly played games I wouldn't have played from being versatile. So I think there is massive fors and against to it, to play in different positions, but it never bothered me. I liked probably the challenge of playing in different positions. And yeah, no, I enjoyed wherever I played, whether it be left back, left midfield. Later on in my career, I'd say I played more centre midfield. But initially, I'd say I was left midfield, like left back. And it was only as my career developed, as I got older, I started coming inside more, playing more of a central midfield role.
And the next few seasons were sort of one-year deals, you know, at different clubs, Coventry, Bury and Blackpool, and then settled back into Stoke with Port Vale, and signed by former teammate Michael Brown. Did you ever see him going into management, and would you say it was difficult to settle into a club towards the end of your playing career?
Settling in, I think it was just the way for me it turned out. As soon as I hit 30, it was just a one year move kind of thing. For one reason or another, I had a bad season at Coventry, injury-wise. I had like 2 ankle operations, injections. So that was probably my most disappointing year in football. Nothing to do with the football club, just the injuries, and the time I had there was quite hard. But after that, I went to Bury, enjoyed it there, had a good time there. And then, yeah, like you said, moved to Blackpool, and then a little bit longer at Port Vale. So no, that's just the way my career went. But it was great, obviously, again, to work with all these different managers, different coaches, and every one I felt like I took something from and tried to learn from it. But it was all different experiences, new experiences. But yeah, it sounds like I forgot how many clubs I'd actually been to until you started like reeling them off.
Sorry, mate. You were named captain at Port Vale under Neil Aspin in 2017, and began coaching the following season. Was it always an aspiration to get into coaching once the playing career sort of came to the other side, or was there other avenues you may have explored?
No, I think it was definitely in my mind. I never knew exactly which path I wanted to go down. But I've always loved, obviously, football. I love the training, I love the games, and it's been the natural progression for myself to go down. It's still very early days for myself, but no, like I said, I'm loving it at the moment. But yeah, I think I've fallen into it at the moment quite. The transition's been quite smooth. It's helped that I've been able to ease into it from being a player, taking the odd session, taking the odd drill, and I've been like drip fed into it, really, in a sense, and you build your confidence in that way. So no, like I said, it's very early days, but I am enjoying it.
Good stuff. And where are you on that coaching journey now, and how are you finding the responsibilities of first team coaching, and sort of how does that change in terms? I know you do the team news pre-match with the media guys. Yeah. Is that something that you wanted to do, or is that more of a, building your expertise as such?
Not necessarily the media side of it, doing the team news. I don't think Dave Kevin, who's obviously the assistant manager, likes doing too much of the press. So I'm happy to do it before the game. But yeah, I'm just there really to help out. The gaffer's been brilliant with me since he's come in, and Dave as well. The responsibility to give me, they ask for my opinion. They let me get involved. They let me take different bits of sessions. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, obviously from these people. And yeah, just keep improving, really.
Yeah, I mean, the changes in the fortune of the club have been pretty astronomical, really, and not just on, but also off the pitch. Should the season resume, is there a sense of sort of optimism around the club and the chances of promotion?
like you said, there's been a huge swing in turnaround. I think from the owners coming in, the manager coming in, there's been a massive turnaround, and there's definitely optimism within the group, within the club. Our form was good coming into this forced break. We feel we're in a good position in the league, but we'd gone a little bit under the radar maybe, but we felt our form was good. We feel like we're improving all the time, which I think is a good thing, especially obviously at this stage of the season. And yeah, we're confident. We're confident that our ability as a group, the lads have done brilliantly. And like I said, they're individually improved and they're improving as a group, so that can only be a positive thing. And hopefully, if the season continues, we'll see where it can take us.
Yeah, there's certainly a better feeling around the club since Carol and Kevin came in, and again, I think the whole place has just lifted a whole nother level. And you know, you're working with the first team now. On the other side, is there a particular manager or coach that's had a big influence on your coaching career to date?
I don't think I'd say like one specific manager or one specific coach. Like just touched on before, I think to be able to have witnessed quite like so many different managers and good managers, and then underneath those managers, a lot of very good coaches who probably go unnoticed or under the radar. I feel I've been able to learn from a lot. And even if I agree with them or not, I've been able to take something from it. And I've had all different styles, played under all different styles, all different types of men, types of managers, man management. So no, I wouldn't say I've specifically taken just from one, but it's been able to try and take the little snippets along the way from all these different people, which hopefully I've done, and I'm still trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, again, just touching back when we spoke to Rory, we were talking about coaching philosophies, and one thing Rory mentioned was it's okay to not have a philosophy. Would you say that your philosophy depends on the players that you work with and ultimately your experiences within coaching?
Yeah, I think it changes as well depending on obviously the situation you're in, and I think people talk about your philosophy, but your philosophy changes and develops as time goes on. I don't know if I would say I'd have a set philosophy. I think you have a way of doing things as a person, as a player, and I think that transfers over probably into your coaching and your management side of things.
What advice then would you give to young players coming through the academy systems now? Because there's a lot of player power and agents involved. What advice would you give to the players?
For me, I'd say the same thing. It's probably a bit, but for me, it's work rate. You've got to work. You've got to work hard, no matter how much ability you've got, how much skill you've got. If you're top of your group, it's the work rate for me and how hard you work. And your attitude is gonna get you into that full-time professional football. What was I going to say? Yeah, your work rate, your honesty. And yeah, for me as well, you got to love what you do. You've got to enjoy it, because there's massive ups in football, but there's big downs as well when you're not playing if you're injured. So you've got to enjoy it as well. You've got to enjoy what you do, and just be coachable. You want to learn, want to get better, want to improve. So they'd be probably the three big things I'd say. But I think work rate, your attitude are absolutely massive.
I mean, something I've picked up and worked with our age group this year is that I think sometimes there's a little bit too much pressure on the guys to perform and succeed. Yeah. So show the coaches your love of the game. Go and play the game like it could be your last game. And I'm not saying it's worked perfectly, but we've started to see the players actually play with a smile on the face and a little bit of freedom. Would you say that's a big part to play? Show your love of the game.
100%. You have to. For me, you have to. Very few. I know there's the odd one who maybe wouldn't say they don't enjoy, but in the majority, to do it for how long? If you want a full career, you've got to love it. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to want to be out there, whatever the weather, whatever the time, to enjoy it. You got to be practicing on your own. These young lads, they can't just be in that environment with yourself. 2-3 times a week. They've got to be doing bits on their own. They've got to live right away from football. They've got to eat right. They've got to prepare right, sleep right. There's going to be things you're going to have to sacrifice. Your lads are probably a bit younger at the moment, aren't they? But as they get
as they get that little bit older, there's going to be things they're going to have to miss out on. And you're only going to do that if you love what you're doing, for me.
Yeah.
So you have to enjoy it, and to see the lads when they'll perform the best, like you said, it's when they're happy, when they're enjoying themselves, when they're relaxed. But they've still got to have that drive and that will to win and will to want to improve.
Yeah, I think these times have probably sparked a little bit of a bit more love for the players, because we're all missing football, we're missing the beautiful game, and I think
massively,
maybe some might have taken it for granted what they might have, and I'm not going to say I hope, but I'm sure we'll see players coming back with a new urgency and love of the game. Just in terms of the coaching, Danny, what advice would you give to coaches looking to make a career in the game? Obviously, you've seen both sides of it now. What do you think they need to take on board?
Well, I don't feel as qualified to talk in this. I feel very, very new to the coaching side. But for me, what I've found helps is I've never been as nervous doing my first few sessions. It's the most nervous I've probably been than any game of football I've played. Whether that would be however many people that was in front of the coaching, maybe because it was new, maybe because it was something I'd done. Although I'd trained in thousands of sessions, games-wise, the coaching was, whoa, this is now I'm on the other side. Everyone's looking at me. Everyone wants me to put on this session. And that was so, but the more I've done, the little bit more I've stood in front of people. I've taken the session, even tiny bits. So it's just doing it for me, whether that's with the 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, the reserves, first team, just being in front of the group and putting the sessions on is what it's definitely helped me.
Fantastic. I mean, what does the future sort of hold for you, Danny? Now you mentioned there you just cutting your teeth and getting experience in coaching. Any aspirations to go into management at all? Or?
It's very early to say, to be honest. At the moment, I'm loving exactly what I'm doing. I feel like I said, I'm still learning a lot at the moment in time. But yeah, maybe down the line, it might be something I'd like to give a go. But at this stage, I'm enjoying this side, enjoying the coaching side of things. But in the future, we'll see.
Good stuff, Danny. I mean, just before we finish off, I know it's getting a little bit late now, and we do a little quick fire question round with our guests. So, first question, I'll start off with is best friend in football.
I've met obviously a lot of really good people. I'd probably say Michael Tong, who obviously came here. I played five different clubs with him. By sheer coincidence, as it happens, but yeah, I'd probably say he's definitely up there.
Okay. Toughest opponent?
The hardest one was James Milner. I was playing left back, he was playing right midfield at the time, and it's probably not the one you'd expect us, but his work rate is he's fast, he was strong, he never stopped moving, he had a lot for me. So I'd say James Milner was the toughest opponent.
Best trainer?
That's a tough one. I was thinking about this earlier. John Walters, who you know from Stoke, was a machine. He's one I look back on and think he was a top trainer, top professional. Another one, Graham Alexander, who's now the Salford manager. I was at Preston with him. He was a top professional, top player, top trainer. And he obviously played until he was, I think, into his 40s. I played with him when he was mid-30s, and he was fit as anyone. Trained 100% every single session, never missed a game. So yeah, he's another one who I'd definitely put up there.
Maybe a chance to get one or dig someone out here. Worst dressed teammate?
Trying to think of some of the current lads now at Vale. Popey's got to be up there. I've got to throw Popey in there. He's definitely up there. Yeah, I put him in the mix.
He's been mentioned a couple of times.
It's an easy one, but yeah, I can't leave him out.
I thought Rick might have been up there, Ricky Fuller. Best player.
Say that again, sorry.
Best player you've played with.
Another one who regularly comes up when people speak, but Paul Scholes was probably the best to see it close quarters. There were some unbelievable players at the time there. I was obviously as a young lad, but he was
he was probably one I'd say he was absolutely unbelievable. Range of passing, how easy he made football look was just quite phenomenal, to be honest.
Mega. Is there anybody you would recommend or like to hear on the podcast?
Trying to think now. I think any of the lads who will be on there will be great. Scott Brown would be good. Don't know if you get the keep, obviously. Pope would always be good on here. Monty would be good.
If
you spoke to Monty, he could be a good one on here.
We've got Monty coming on and he's going to speak.
Have you?
Obviously, the work he does with the mental health groups as well.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, no, he'll be good, Monty.
So we'll have a good chat.
He's a good lad, good player, good personality. So no, he'll be good fun. So, yeah, no, there's a couple of names there. Will be good for you.
We'll look to get in touch with them. But Danny, look, again, I know it's late, and again, I just want to say thank you for taking the time for joining us at PCT today. And if the season does resume, obviously I wish you and the rest of the squad the best of luck for the season, and hope you stay safe during these tough times.
Yeah, thank you very much. Same to you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Top man. Speak soon, mate.
No worries. See you later.
Ductig brand is on hand for all of your coaching needs. Whether it be to plan sessions or take notes whilst observing games, Ductig are able to cover all of your needs. Use the discount code Irvine20 at checkout to receive a discount. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy the content that we're trying to bring to you. Don't forget, new episodes will be released every Monday. You can find us on the iTunes Store, Spotify, and if you want to see the video, you can see it on our YouTube channel, PCT Football Coaching.